What's going on, everybody? Welcome to Monday, March 8th, 2021. We're here for another episode of the Casual Fan Podcast, the hardest working, most accurate, most entertaining NHL/sports gambling podcast on YouTube. Here every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, all 116 games of the NHL season. We've recently expanded into MLB and NBA coverage, so make sure to check those videos out as well. My name is Pastillas, your host and commentator, and today we're going to talk about everything that happened over the weekend quickly, and then get right into predictions for Monday and Tuesday night across the league. We posted an 18-8 record over the weekend, which is actually really good. I boosted my percentage over 360 hockey picks to 58%, and we're gonna keep it rolling here. So before we get started, please make sure to like and subscribe. Stop what you're doing, like and subscribe. Tell your friends, send this to your old grandparents who are stuck at home and have nothing else to watch. Tell them to like and subscribe, and tell everyone else you know that this is the greatest new sports gambling podcast on YouTube. Cheers. So what did we see over the weekend? What happened? What were the most important things that anyone should really care about? Number one, after the Toronto Maple Leafs beat the Edmonton Oilers without Austin Matthews in 3 games straight, holding them to only 1 goal, they lost 2 games to the Vancouver Canucks, who are supposed to be one of the worst teams in the division. And they didn't even have Elias Pettersson. How do you explain that one? That's hockey. That's just what it is. That's how it goes. Another great moment we saw, Connor McDavid, game-winning snipe from the face-off circle, pings it off the bar, absolute beauty, wins the game for the Oilers. The guy is carrying his team. Another big news story, Tommy Wilson, probably the most hated player in the league, takes a run at a Bruins player. Bruins don't like it, lots of fights. It was a pretty dirty headshot when you watch it in slow-mo. It really crammed the guy's head against the glass. There's not too many players in the league like Tom Wilson left, and really there's 2 ways you could look at it. If he's on my team, he's a saint and he's never done anything wrong. And if he's not on my team, he should be banned from the league. The truth is probably somewhere in the middle of those 2 opinions. I think Tom Wilson's a really good player, and I think he's sort of a victim of being brought up, raised to play a certain way, and now that he's playing that way, the game has changed and everyone's upset at him. Tom Wilson is a prototypical power forward. If he was playing in the 90s or even the early 2000s, he's a monster out there. Another example of a player that's sometimes hated, Sidney Crosby, splitting the D at the ripe old age of 35, 36. He's still doing it. Sid the kid, Sid the adult, he's an amazing player. Speaking of greatness, Walter Gretzky died, one of the greatest hockey dads of all time. Shout out to Walter Gretzky and everything he stood for, and shout out to all the hockey dads out there who are growing the game and getting their kids into sport. It's a big sacrifice and people don't realize how much goes into the sport. It's a couple of fights in the Battle of Alberta, nothing too significant. Eric Goodbranson absolutely drilled Matthew Tkachuk in the Senators and Flames game. Pekka Rinne made an unbelievable stick save and a couple other nice saves in the Dallas game. He's starting to look like his old form a couple years ago, which I love to see because Rinne was an absolute brick wall. So I hope he gets back to where he was. And the last electric moment, Matthew Barzal, probably the nicest goal of the year. It's hard to top that one. McDavid might have it. Matthew Barzal has a second goal that also might top that one, but he's already submitted 2 goal of the year candidates. And this one was ridiculous. That's some video game stuff. All right, the past is the past, the future is now. Let's get into the games for Monday and Tuesday night and try and make the best predictions so that we all win money. The very first game tonight at 7 o'clock, the Vegas Golden Knights as favorites, -115 against the Minnesota Wild, +102 underdogs. The Knights are 5-0 in their last 5 as a road favorite and 4-0 on 1 day's rest. They're 6-1 after allowing 2 or fewer goals in the previous game, and 6-1 when their opponent scores 2 or fewer in the previous game. The Knights are also 6-1 in their last 7 Monday games. However, the home team is 4-0 in the last 4. The Wild lost in OT to the Knights, then got blown out, then split a series with the Coyotes, while the Vegas Golden Knights basically ran over the San Jose Sharks. The Knights are now on a 6-game win streak, and I don't think the Wild are going to be the ones to stop them. That is a pretty long win streak. This is legitimately the best team in the league right now. Next game, the Blues, -158 favorite against the San Jose Sharks, +139 underdog. Blues are 9-2 in their last 11 road games, 4-1 in their last 5 overall, 4-0 in the last 4 meetings in San Jose, and 8-2 in the last 10 meetings. Give me the Blues all day in this one. Now the next game's kind of interesting because it's the Ottawa Senators as +210 underdogs against the Edmonton Oilers, who are -238 favorites. Now the reason I think this is strange is that similar odds have been released for the Tampa Bay Lightning playing against the Detroit Red Wings and the Philadelphia Flyers playing against the crummy Sabres. I don't think the difference between the Oilers and the Senators is as big as those teams, not even close. That's why I think there's a little bit of value on the Ottawa Senators in this game. Plus I love betting against Edmonton. Sure, there are a ton of trends that would go the Oilers' way and tell you that they're going to win the game, but I'm here to prove that the Senators are going to win. Sens are 11-3 in the last 14 meetings in Edmonton, and the road team is 17-5 in the last 22 meetings. I'm openly admitting that I'm biased here and I want the Senators to win, but I'm going to take them as a value pick in this game. Next game, the Arizona Coyotes at +162 underdogs against the Colorado Avalanche, -185 favorites. Now, the Colorado Avalanche have not been the dominant runaway train that everyone expected them to be, that they were sort of heading towards before they were eliminated by the Dallas Stars in the playoff bubble. Their team is very good. They're just not as dominant as they seemed to be last year. Here's some stats for the game. Favorite is 13-3 in the last 16. Yotes are 0-6 in the last 6 in Colorado. 0-4 in the last 4 meetings overall. Home team's 8-3 in the last 11, but the Yotes are 6-3 in the last 9 3-4 situations. 9-4 in the last 13 Monday games. 7-3 in the last 10 on 1 day's rest. But overall, the Avalanche are probably going to win. They're 20-8 versus a team with a losing record, and 4-0 in the last 4 after allowing 5 or more goals in the previous game. Give me the Avalanche in this one. Montreal Canadiens minus 150 favorites against the Vancouver Canucks plus 133 underdogs. This is one of those matchup things where it's like the Canucks play well against the Leafs, the Canadiens play well against the Canucks, the Sens play well against the Flames. It's kind of a rock, paper, scissors in this division right now. However, the favorite is 4-0 in the last 4. Montreal is 6-1 in the last 7 in Vancouver. Habs are also 20-6 in the last 26 meetings between these teams. Some stats the other way, the Habs are 0-4 in their last 4 road games, 0-4 following a win, and 2-6 in their last 8 overall. The Habs are really struggling right now. I could see the Canucks smelling blood and taking this game, but I'm also going to stay away. The Canucks are also 6-2 versus a team with a losing record. Very last game of Monday night, you got the Los Angeles Kings minus 114 favorites against the Anaheim Ducks plus 101 underdogs. The Kings have been playing well, but they're actually 1-4 in the last 5 meetings between these teams. 1-7 in their last 8 when their opponent scores 5 or more in the previous game. The Ducks are 5-1 in their last 6 3-4 situations. However, the favorite is 11-5 in the last 16. Kings are also 5-1 in the last 3-4 situations. They're 5-1 in their last 6 following a win, and the Ducks are 1-6 in their last 7 Monday games. I really like the Kings team. I like watching them this year. I hope they win. It's pretty close though. I'd probably stay away. So with all the Monday games done, let's get into the Tuesday games. Rangers plus 118 underdogs against the Pittsburgh Penguins minus 143 favorites. Rangers are 6-1 playing on 1 day's rest, but they're 0-5 in both 3-4 and 4-6 situations, which this game is. The favorite's 4-0 in the last 4 meetings. Home team's 5-1. Rangers are 1-6 in the last 5 in Pittsburgh, and the over is 10-1-2 in the last 13 games in Pittsburgh. I like the Penguins, probably take the over in this one as well. Next game, the Bruins and the Islanders, dead even odds, minus 110 each. Bruins are 6-1 on 1 day's rest, 6-1 versus a winning record, 12-4 when their opponent scores 5 or more in the previous game, and 40-15 on Tuesday games. The favorite's 9-4. The Bruins are 14-6 in the last 20 meetings, and 18-6 in the last 24 meetings in New York. Give me the Bruins all day. Next game, the Buffalo Sabres, plus 188 underdogs against the Philadelphia Flyers, minus 240 favorites. The Sabres are 3-14 in their last 17 meetings in Philadelphia. They're 7-23 in their last 30 overall, and the favorite is 21-8 in the last 29. The Sabres stink. They're done for the season. Take the Flyers minus 1.5. Next game, New Jersey Devils plus 165 underdog against the Washington Capitals minus 205 favorites. The Devils are 1-7 in the last 8 in Washington, 5-21 in the last 26 meetings. Favorite is 45-17 in the last 62. Devils are 5-1 in their last 6 road games, but the Caps are 5-1 in their last 6 overall. I gotta go with the Capitals in this one. Next game, the Nashville Predators plus 150 underdogs against the Carolina Hurricanes minus 186 favorites. Kings are 5-0 in their last 5 overall, 8-2 in their last 10 home games. Preds are 1-9 in the last 10 meetings, 2-6 in the last 8 meetings in Carolina, 0-6 against a team with a winning record. However, the underdog is 5-2 in the last 7. Road team is 5-0 in the last 5. Preds are 4-1 in a 3-4 situation, and they're 6-2 when their opponent allows 2 or fewer goals in the previous game. Give me the Hurricanes. They're a better team. The Preds stink. Up next, the Florida Panthers minus 132 favorites against the Columbus Blue Jackets, plus 110 underdogs. Now this is a beautiful underdog matchup that I love to see. No one would expect the Columbus Blue Jackets to win this game, but I do. The Panthers are 2-14 in the last 16 games in Columbus, 7-21 in the last 28 meetings between these teams. Underdog is 6-2 in the last 8 in Columbus. Home team is 4-1 in the last 5. Jackets are 6-0 following a loss of 3 or more goals, and 5-2 after allowing 5 or more in the previous game. They're a bounce back team. The Columbus Blue Jackets should, according to all these trends, slaughter the Panthers. So I think it's a good underdog bet. Next game, the Winnipeg Jets plus 155 underdogs against the high-flying Toronto Maple Leafs, minus 190 favorites. The Leafs are riding high after the Oilers. They just lost twice to the Canucks without Pettersson. If they lose to the Jets here, sound all the alarms in Toronto. Everyone's gonna lose their minds. The Jets are actually 6-2 in their last 8. They're a good team. However, here are the trends. Leafs are 4-0 at home after a road trip of 7 or more days, 8-0 against a team with a winning percentage above 600, 9-2 in their last 11 Tuesday games. Jets are 1-4 in the last 5 meetings, favorites 8-3 in the last 11, and 0-9 after allowing 5 or more in the previous game. There are some stats to back up the Jets, but I don't think they're important. I'm going to go with the Leafs in this game. Next game, the Tampa Bay Lightning, minus 286 heavy favorites against the Detroit Red Wings, plus 220 underdogs. The Lightning are 7-1 in their last 8 against the entire NHL, and also 7-1 in the last 8 against just Detroit. The favorite is 22-4 in the last 26 meetings. These teams are barely in the same league. You could split the Lightning in half and form 2 teams that are more competitive than the Detroit Red Wings right now. And the very last game for Tuesday to wrap it all up was the Chicago Blackhawks, a surprising plus 105 underdog against the Dallas Stars, minus 127 favorites. Now I love when there's a juicy underdog like this, and I'm gonna take it. I could be wrong, but it's juicy. The Hawks are 5-0 in their last 5 after allowing 5 or more goals in the previous game. They're 5-0 after a home loss of 3 or more. They're 6-1 versus a team with a losing record. They're 6-1 on the road, and the Hawks are 5-2 in their last 7 overall. The underdog in this series is also 6-2 in the last 8. Give me the Chicago Blackhawks as a great value bet over the Dallas Stars today. All right, so with all that useful information of which games you should pick or maybe stay away from, I'm gonna make my official picks if I had to lean for each game starting Monday and Tuesday, who's gonna win and who's gonna lose. On Monday night, I am interested in Knights, Blues, Senators, Flyers, Capitals, Blue Jackets, Leafs, Avalanche, Canadiens, Kings. And then on Tuesday night, the teams that I would select are Penguins, Bruins, Flyers, Capitals, Hurricanes, Blue Jackets, Leafs, Lightning, Hawks. That's it. These are all the winners. Who's going to win the games? I posted an 18-8 record over the weekend. Hopefully this one's even better. Hopefully I have a perfect record over the next couple of days. But I'm also going to offer you my official bets, which I have been ice cold on. So what you can do is take these bets and do the opposite. There are some extremely tough matchups tonight, and I would tread very lightly. But my lean would be a parlay of the St. Louis Blues over the Sharks. They've been letting me down, but the Colorado Avalanche over the Arizona Coyotes, and the Kings over the Ducks. I'm going to live to regret that, but that's probably the 3 teams I'm taking tonight. Treading very lightly. Now on Tuesday, we're going to bet the house. We're gonna take out a loan from the bank. We're gonna borrow money from a close family friend, and we're gonna win double on hockey. This is the most irresponsible gambling show on YouTube. On Tuesday, give me the Philadelphia Flyers minus 1.5, the Columbus Blue Jackets as underdogs, the Chicago Blackhawks as underdog, and a parlay of Philly, Tampa, and Carolina. That's it. That's officially what I think. Everything that happened over the weekend, everything that's gonna happen over the next couple of days. Thank you to all of you who are here watching, liking, subscribing, commenting, telling your friends. Let's keep it going. Let's grow this thing right to the top. We're expanding into more sports, so stay tuned for all the greatest sports content in the world. See you guys on Wednesday. Cheers.